I saw the devil's shape in the northern lights. So to start off, I just want to say I was 14 smoking weed, basically what every teenager does at that age. Well, when I'm done smoking I usually go outside and stargaze and look for UFOs. Lol. Well, when I got out to stargaze, I was greeted with very beautiful northern lights. Never in my life have I seen anything like it or have ever since. It was covering most of the sky. It was not like your regular northern lights, like it was just basically a cloud, but I can them moving around, and obviously it's not a cloud cause it's fucking glowing green, so I was like, wow, this is so beautiful. So I laid there just watching this for like 1.5 minutes, and I noticed a clear area in the middle of it. Was weird since there was no other clear spots. So I just started looking at it cause it looked like a shape, couldn't tell what it looked like, so I tilted my head and upper body to the right. And to horror I noticed it was body shape, not human, but I can tell, so I got up, started looking harder, and yup. Eyes look to where head would be, I see horns like goat horns or antelope or whatever. It is the shape had horns, so I started freaking out, stopping looking, started questioning whether I'm too high or I'm in a dream, so I decided to pinch myself. Yeah, I felt it and can still see the shape, so I looked more towards the waist. Yup, fucking goat legs. I started freaking out, just straight up scared. Went inside. My sister just came out of the washroom half asleep. I tell her, she goes, "Ew, that's creepy." That's it, she goes back to sleep. I go get my phone to check the time, it was 3:08. So that would mean when I started seeing the shape it was probably exactly 3 a.m. Went outside again, they started spreading as soon as I acknowledged it, as the devil was scared to sleep after that. I think of that as the Lord telling me to stop smoking weed and to start being a good person. Still creeps me out to this day. Nobody believes me. So when I was like 8 years old, one time I was just laying on my mattress, and I was a type of a kid that loved paranormal shit and everything about it, and I'm watching a paranormal investigation on YouTube. As I turn off my phone I just start feeling like shit, and then out of curiosity, I look at my table cause it had a stack of papers on there, and as soon as I get up they just zoom out from the table, and I drop my phone and I run to my mom. I said, "Papers in our room fell from my table by themselves," and she said it was the air, and I knew something was off. So I go into every room we have in my house, and we have 6 windows, and I walked around the house and every window was closed. Then when I was going to go sleep I heard like a man or something really heavy walking on my floor, cause it was creaking really loud, and I cover myself with my plushies and blankets and I fall asleep. From that night I am scared to be the last one awake at night. The whistle of the woods. Well, a few years ago I went cycling on an old road I know like the back of my hand. I was cycling and I heard a whistle and thought it was a bird, but it happened again. As I came back I heard it a third time and stopped and whistled back for a joke. A few moments passed by and I heard it loud and clear. It that whistled to me was not a bird. It had a human quality to it. As stupid as I might be, I walked closer to where it was coming from. The thing that was whistling to me kept whistling, but it altered the whole time. As I approached a bush the whistle came from, I trough a rock into to check if it might not be a bird. But no, nothing. Being freaked out I slowly walked around the bush and saw nothing but fresh boot prints that walked up to the bush and not away. Till this day I don't know what it was, but still gives me the creeps to think something was trying to communicate with me. The visions are getting worse. The drives at night are hard and long. My eyes struggle to stay open. The headlights beams illuminate 15 feet in front of my a dank yellow color. Out of the corner of my eyes I see these figures, but when I snap my head back for a second look it's just a mailbox or a bush. I thought I just wasn't getting enough sleep, but last night proved me wrong. It was another long drive home from the office, but I was well rested and work went well, so I had some good energy left and my eyelids didn't disobey my brain's commands to stay open. The drive was long, but not necessarily difficult. I worked my way down I-75 to McDonough, the steady traffic keeping me on my toes, my eyes darting from side to side watching for possible issues. I get to my exit and pull off on this back road that leads to my neighborhood. It has some curves but nothing too extreme. It's an easy 2-mile stretch and my mind tends to wander as my car coasts along the gentle curves. I only have a half a mile left and my head starts to hurt, like a dull pressure pushing in between my eyes and my ears start to ring. I keep my eyes ahead and in front of me I see a staticky figure, not quite a man but 2 arms, 2 legs, a body and a blockhead. His extremities seem to be like old TV static and there he is just floating perfectly still in the middle of the road. The black parts of the static my lights illuminate and the gray parts, my lights shine through. I slow down as I come up on my neighborhood, rolling closer and closer towards the thing. I flick my blinker on and begin to turn, still watching it float there. As I complete the turn I look back into my rear view and there's nothing but dark road and shadowed trees. Half a mile left until I'm in my driveway. I kept seeing figures standing and watching on the curb as I rushed past. I look back in my rear view and nothing, just the dim orange glow of streetlights. I get into my house as quick as possible, thinking about if anything strange has happened, and I remember, the nightmares have started again. I hoped for an easy sleep last night, but more and more nightmares of me having to face these creatures in fights. The nights are way too long lately. For anyone who sees this, I hope you can sleep easy tonight and keep your eyes peeled for these figures. I'll keep this to the point. I just need clues to find out what me and my friend saw a few years back, because I think about it still sometimes. Like I said, a few years back me and a friend of mine were sitting on a bench on a trail. It was around 10 p.m. or later. For descriptive purposes, the bench sits perpendicular to a map of the trail, blocking your view to the rest of the trail from one side if you are sitting in the bench, unless you lean a little bit back or get up and walk around the map. And that's exactly what I did. I leaned back on the bench to stretch. When I turned over I noticed a dark, bulky shape, and it was kind of swaying side to side walking, but I didn't pay much mind to it. I sat back normally. A few seconds passed, but I got curious, so I leaned back again and noticed she was a lot closer this time, and she was swaying a lot faster, and I heard her legs shuffle while she mumbled to herself. That instantly made me nervous because of how fast she covered ground, and she seemed to be moving like an old lady, so that was a big red flag. I decided it probably wasn't a good idea to stay until she had us face to face, so I got up sort of fast to reach the end of the map wall thing before she did. God, it was the most terrifying scream I've heard in my life. As soon as I saw her, her energy is what got to me first, or whatever it was. A wave of dread and complete fear hit my body. I only managed to get a glimpse of her, partly because it was so dark, but also because as soon as we made eye contact she screamed, I'm sorry," while crying, and when I say scream I'm talking banshee scream. I told my friend to run, but he was already on it. Lol. It was comical, but the lady that had her arms crossed as if hugging herself this whole time started reaching for him. He didn't see, but I was running backwards and noticed how close she was to actually grabbing him. I honestly don't know what I would have done at the moment if she did, because this was one of my first weird encounters like this. Anyways, we made it to a light pole that was at the end of the street. I guess we just instinctually went to where the light was. IDK. When we looked back to watch what she did, she was already walking away fast AF, like those creepy ass movies where the character crawls really fast, but she just hobbled away unnaturally fast. Fast, I tell you. We tried to follow her, but by the time we got to where we had seen her start walking back, she was at the spot where I had seen her the very first time. I'm guessing our own pride didn't allow us to admit we were both *T-ting bricks, because we had the marvelous idea of heading back into the trail to see if we were just seeing things or what, but we never saw her a second time. That's pretty much it. The only thing that really bothers me is the fact that she said sorry over and over. Why? For what? Is this like a sign, or just a crazy person we encountered? She seemed like some sort of witch lady in all black and messy hair. Her body was basically a big round black mass. It blended in with the dark surroundings. I don't know what to make of this, but I've heard good about Reddit for this sort of thing. I'm just guessing she hexed my ass or something. I haven't died yet, so I guess I'm good for now. Sleepover, true story. Okay, so around 2 to 3 years ago I came over to my friend's house for a sleepover. His house is a 2-story apartment at the 17th floor. He has a PlayStation 4 at his room, bottom, and a PS5 at his upper floor. So we went to sleep and we kept the PS4 on so the controller would charge. Around at 3:03 a.m. one of the joysticks of the controller moved. The TV reacted and we got scared. He went to check down his bed, it was sort of a bunk bed, and check what was going on. Nothing happened. Then we couldn't fall asleep and gave up trying, so we went upstairs to watch some YouTube and play PS5. The audio was very low, we could barely hear it. He has windows on top of his main door leading into the hallway, and he has a dog. After around 3 to 5 minutes of playing, he said he saw someone peek through those windows. Of course I wasn't gonna fall for that, but after another 3 minutes we start hearing very loud banging on the door non-stop for around 4 minutes. The dog was barking, yet not his baby sister, mother or father woke up even though their doors were wide open. We sat there in horror as we thought we were gonna get killed tonight. But after some time the banging stopped and the dog stopped barking. We tried to calm ourselves down and not tell his parents. We watched some YouTube and went back down to his room and fell asleep. We don't know who that was and nobody believes us when we tell someone this story. Things seem different, and it is scaring me. So to start this off, I am 18 and am currently in college and am waiting to get my next dorm in college for my next semester. And everyone in college have been acting so nice to me and act as if we are childhood friends and have known each other for a long amount of time. Which is new to me, so I didn't think much of it. I am taking this wait at my parents' home and have been working with my dad in construction type jobs to make some extra money, but things have seemed off. Why have things seemed off? Well, to start off with, the volume on things such as the TV, my phone, computer, etc. have turned down to a bit above halfway to max. This strange occurrence happens when I first look at the electronic item in question after a few seconds to a minute. The first time it had happened, I had picked up my phone while working on a pool with my dad and a few of his workers. I turned my phone on and opened Snapchat to text my girlfriend and the volume turned down. I was like, oh, that's odd, it's probably just being slow. But every break I took, that problem occurred. I even restarted my phone after the 5th occurrence. But that is not what was scaring me. Everyone was being so nice to me and it is scaring me. Something is off. I don't feel like I am just being paranoid because I know myself and that is not like me. My father's workers, my co-workers, were instantly close friends, and I do not think that it is because I am a like-able person, which I am not. I am an asshole. But this doesn't feel right. My heart hurts currently and I am feeling tired. I might sleep. My haunted house. When I was 4, my parents moved out of the house I lived at since I was born, so we move into a seemingly nice house to live at. After we move in, the first month or so is normal, but after some time we see and I hear knife scratches on the wall at night. Keep in mind I'm 4 years old, so I said hello, mommy or something like that, and there was nothing but more scratches. Eventually, after this happening on a nightly basis, I get used to it and start sleeping behind the couch or with my parents. My father didn't have a fond memory of this house because when he got home he normally would go right to sleep after a hard day at work, but me and my mother would see these occurrences even more often. One time my mother was talking to my uncle about the paranormal encounters in the bathroom, and then the sink turned on by itself and she turned it off and it kept happening until the handle didn't even turn, the water just kept coming out. Then one day my mom was changing and I saw a man behind her and his face was blurry, and my mother's religion says that Jesus has a blurry face when a pure soul, really young kid sees him. We moved out shortly after all of that stuff happened, and every time we drive by that house there's a new car there. When I was a child, a poltergeist shook my bed uncontrollably and scared me so that I would never forget it. I've thought about this ever since I was 6 or 7, I'm 39 now. But the moment was so terrifying that it has stuck with me all these years, and replays in my mind so vividly that I will never forget the moment, play by play. So when I was little, like I said 6 or 7, I was laying in bed trying to sleep for the longest time, but couldn't. I remember looking at my digital clock and saw that it was just a little past 3 a.m. And the way my bedroom was located in my house at the time, I could look through my doorway, through the hall and into our den, TV room, where my dad was watching TV. My whole room was dark, with the exception of the minimal amount of light that was coming from the den, where my dad was. Then all of the sudden, I got the sudden urge that something was wrong or about to happen. I was scared, so as children do when they're in bed and are scared, I covered my entire body with my sheet. After I did this, I felt as though and sensed that there was a face or a presence right over mine, just on the other side of the sheet. Then, all of the sudden, my bed started to jolt and shake violently, as if there were 6 or so people underneath, full on kicking the underside of my mattress on all 4 corners in the center, as if they were on their back and had a full leg's length to do so. All 4 corners, as well as the center of my bed, were being jolted up and back down to the box spring. Again and again the bed was being jolted and shook. And I know I wasn't dreaming or imagining this, because it went from that happening, to me physically standing up on my bed and getting a running start on the bed, to then land in the hallway. I then went straight into our den, TV room where my father was. But all I could do was look and stare into my dark room and know that at some point, I was going to have to go back in there and get into that same bed. I was terrified. To this day, I remember it as if it were yesterday. Never did find out if the house had someone die in it while they lived there. Still makes me wonder about it. In this case, I have to lean towards the supernatural as being what caused me bed to shake, because there were a lot of other things about that house that were off-putting, in a real creepy, in a ghostly, demonic way. Would never want that to happen to me now. Surprised I'm not in therapy now, from what happened then. Has this ever happened to anyone else?